What is the history of far right? There are some people claiming that some, far right leaders, or at least their ideological godfathers, supported Hitler and Mussolini. So, what is their historical background of these far right group in the UK?
Well, of course, well, it's an interesting history, isn't it? Again, out of the fabric of society, which has been imperial and landowning capitalists and so on, the the way in which the right has sought to have an influence has been something which has been part of the of British political history from very early times, and during the 20s and the 30s, with the rise of Hitler, of course, we had our British Union of Fascists led by Mosley, who at one time was a Labour politician and then became a Tory and then eventually became a fascist. And it wasn't until well into the war that the establishment decided that they had to do something about him and sent him to prison. But they were very lenient with him, and of course, until that time, he was virtually given carte blanche to do and march wherever he wished to do so. And one of my proud boasts is that my father was one of the people who his bully boys threw out of a rally at White City in the 1930s, and that he was also present at Cable Street, along with Phil Piratin, who was once my boss, in seeing off Mosley's black shirt. But there was a small hiatus when there wasn't much right-wing, ultra-right-wing activity, although there was an post-Mosley, but there was an attempt by a couple of people to establish a Nazi party in Britain, but it didn't take off. And then we had the BNP and all these minor groups. But fortunately, as I said before, whereas it's unfortunate that the left is riven with petty squabbles about policy and who's got the best take on Marx, equally the right also suffer from the same sort of problems, and they're forever splitting, which is very good news because it's always kept them away from frontline politics. That's changing. That is changing. Now we have, and it's happened in France as well, and it's happening across Europe, in fact. It's like a rerun of the 1930s. In Britain, we have the Reform UK, Nigel Farage's privately owned party, which ran the Tories very close in the general election. In fact, they came second in 89 seats. And there's a lot of talk in the Tory party about merging, or at least having Farage as a member and this sort of thing, because this is what capitalist parties do. And in fact, the Labour Party is doing it. To seek to hold power, on the one hand, we have Labour, who is stealing the clothes of the Conservative Party to look proper, business-like. We're going to be the most business-friendly party in government in history. The Tories stealing the clothes of Farage and appearing to be harder on immigration, which again Labour is also aping, in order to prevent a bleeding of their votes towards reform. So they've been pulled to the right. Labour's been pulled to the right. The Tories have been pulled further to the right, and I'm sure that Nigel Farage is very pleased, very happy to be friends. I'm sure he is with Tommy Robinson. Suella Braverman certainly was.
So, which famous personality or politician were either sympathetic towards fascism or Nazi party or the ideas of Hitler's, and which maybe politician were sympathetic towards them?
Well, I can't remember all the names from the past, from the 30s and 40s. There were certainly a lot of influential people. For example, the owner of the Daily Mail, Lord Harmondsworth, ran a headline in 1938: "Hurrah for the black shirts!" And they had a column which advised people how to go and join the British Union of Fascists and Mosley's party. So they were very, very close to them. But since then, as I say, there are several Conservatives recently who have been sympathetic, not overtly, but by way of what they've said, with the ultra-right. Let's not go as far as to say fascist, but I mean it's a short distance between one and the other. So you've got people like Jacob Rees-Mogg, Suella Braverman, and Priti Patel, and Robert Jenrick. If you listen to what stall he's setting out in order to try and become leader of the Conservative Party, you'll hear some very nasty sounding things. I mean, here's a man who wants to put an Israeli flag at every port in Britain.
So, were these people, I'm talking about past, the people who were affiliated with Daily Mail, were they prosecuted after the war? Were they,
No.
and why was it so?
Well, I think that they were also, the powers that be were also fairly sympathetic. They couldn't be quite as overt as he, but I mean, I think they wanted to forget about these things and not cause too much of a problem. Let's just move on.
Okay,